안녕하세요 여러분들. 여러분들의 영어 선생님 가브리엘입니다. A few weeks ago, something happened to me that inspired me to make this video. I was talking with a Korean person and they said to me, I see. Now, I noticed something about her. First, she had a very deep voice. So I was like, wow, you have an amazing voice. But you shouldn't say I see. No, 왜 이렇게 얘기했을까요? Why did I say this? That's because when you say I see with a flat kind of low tone, you actually sound frustrated or annoyed about the situation. This is a very important note for Korean learners. So think about it like this. When you're learning something from someone, you can say, I see, I get it now. But you have to raise your tone. I see. So if you have a low voice, don't say this. 바로 그때 제가 어떻게 했을까요? I explained to her what she can say instead. You have a really nice low voice. But with your voice, it's better not to say I see. Instead, raise your tone and say something like, wow, that sounds great, or sounds good to me. These are both very positive phrases that we can learn when we're agreeing with someone. So today, I'm going to tell you 5 situations and responses that you can respond to in English. Now, the first is if you're giving a positive response. I'm going to share mostly polite phrases here, but if you're in kind of a casual conversation, you can say something like, yeah, totally. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. But in a more polite way, you can say, that sounds good, or sounds great. These work in both polite and casual situations, so they're really great. Next is neutral or polite acknowledgement. We want to acknowledge the way that they feel, but we don't necessarily agree. We can say, thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Or, yeah, makes sense. These are both great ways to respond in a neutral way. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Makes sense. 그리고 좀 생각이 필요할 때 있잖아요. 그럴 때도 there's a response for that as well. Let me think about that for a second. Let me think about that for a second. 아니면 my favorite, that's a good question. That's a good question. If somebody asks you a question and you don't really know the answer, you can say, that's a good question. It gives you some time to think, and also maybe you can go out and find out what the answer is and then come back and answer it. That's a good question. Now, sometimes we disagree with someone, right? Now, in this case, how can we respond? I see your point, but I think we should consider another option. Or that's one way to look at it. Another approach might be, these are both very polite and professional ways to acknowledge the other person's opinion, but make it clear that you do not agree, and also introduce your opinion. 그리고 마지막, 많이 쓰는 거 바로 공감입니다. 공감. If you're talking with someone, you want to be able to connect and show that you're understanding and listening to them. 그래서 I thought about what do I use the most? And I use that must have been. That must have been tough. That must have been fun. That must have been interesting. You can exchange out your adjectives here. Now, don't repeat it too much, but it is a great thing to use when you're listening to someone's story. 예를 들면, somebody went to a movie and they're telling you about the movie. Oh, that must have been interesting. Maybe I'll go check it out too. 그리고 사람들이 슬픈 얘기할 때도 있잖아요. 그럴 때 어떻게 얘기할까요? Here, we don't want to say that must have been tough because that must have been tough is kind of a softer, lighter tone. Instead, something like, I'm sorry to hear that, acknowledges that pain or hard time that they're going through in a more deeper and understanding way. So if it's something light, like, work's been exhausting these days, you can say, oh, that must have been tough. But if somebody passed away in their family, then you'd want to say, I'm sorry to hear that. Are you doing okay? Now, today we talked about 5 different ways for you to respond based on the situation in English. If you want to hear more, let me know. And I can't wait to talk to you guys next time too. Bye bye! Now, I hear a lot of mistakes with favorite because it's a really common word that almost all English students